Once upon a time, in a cozy tree, there was a little bird. She had yellow feathers and a little red hat. She loved to sing happy songs and look for yummy worms. But most of all, she loved to fly high in the sky. One day, Little Bird was flying. She flew past the tall trees and over the sparkling river. She flew so far away from her cozy tree, and then she saw a big, beautiful flower. It was the biggest flower she had ever seen. So Little Bird landed on it to take a closer look. "Hello," said Little Bird. "What a pretty flower you are." "Thank you," said the flower. "I am the biggest, most beautiful flower in the whole wide world." Little Bird looked at the flower. It really was the biggest flower she had ever seen. But then a little ladybug flew by. She landed on the flower next to Little Bird. "Hello," said Little Bird. "What a pretty flower you are." "Thank you," said the ladybug. "I am the prettiest ladybug in the whole wide world." Little Bird looked at the ladybug. She was such a tiny bug. How could she possibly be the prettiest in the whole wide world? Just then, a big, fat bumblebee buzzed by. He landed on the same flower. "Hello," said Little Bird. "What a fuzzy bee you are." "Thank you," said the bumblebee. "I am the fuzziest bee in the whole wide world." Little Bird shook her head. That wasn't true. There were lots of fuzzy bees in the whole wide world. But as she looked around, she realized she didn't know where her cozy tree was. In fact, she was all alone in the whole wide world. "Oh, no," thought Little Bird. "What am I gonna do?" She felt scared and lonely. She wanted to go home, but first, she needed to find some worms to eat. As she looked around, she saw a tasty worm wiggling under a leaf. "Yum," thought Little Bird. "Finally, something good in this whole wide world." She pecked at the worm, but it was too big for her to eat. All alone in the whole wide world, thought Little Bird. Not even a friend to help me eat my dinner. Then she saw a butterfly fluttering by. "Excuse me," said Little Bird. "Can you help me eat this worm?" "Well," said the butterfly, "I am the fastest flyer in the whole wide world, and I don't have time to help you." Little Bird looked at the butterfly. She had beautiful wings, but she was all alone in the whole wide world. Then a wise old owl flew by. "Excuse me," said Little Bird. "Can you help me eat this worm?" "Well," said the owl, "I am the wisest flyer in the whole wide world, and I don't have time to help you." Little Bird watched the owl fly away. He was a very wise owl, but he was all alone in the whole wide world. As Little Bird walked along, she came to a clearing in the woods, and there was the biggest, most beautiful flower she had ever seen. It was the same flower she had met the ladybug and the bumblebee on. Maybe they were still there, thought Little Bird. Maybe they would be my friends? She flew over to the flower and hid behind its petals. A little while later, she heard a sniffle. "Who's there?" asked Little Bird. Out popped a little rabbit. "Why are you crying?" asked Little Bird. "I am looking for my carrots," cried the rabbit. "But I am all alone in the whole wide world, and I do want to know where they are." Little Bird hopped out from behind the flower. "Don't worry," she said. "I will help you find your carrots." The two friends started to look for the rabbit's carrots. They looked behind the logs and under the leaves, but they couldn't find any carrots. Then they went over to a nearby bush. "What about in here?" asked Little Bird. "Maybe your carrots are in here." The rabbit sniffed the bush. "No, these are just prickly thorns," he said sadly. Little Bird looked at the thorns. She had sharp eyes, but she was all alone in the whole wide world. Not even a friend to help me look for carrots. Then she remembered how she felt when she was all alone. So she gave the rabbit a big hug. The two friends continued to look for the rabbit's carrots. Soon, they came across a little house. Smoke was coming out of its chimney. "Hello," said Little Bird. "Would you like some carrot soup?" The rabbit and Little Bird looked at each other. They both smiled. "That sounds wonderful," said the rabbit. "Thank you for asking, Little Bird." They knocked on the door. A little turtle opened it. "Hello," she said with a smile. Come in! Come in! Inside the house, Little Bird and the rabbit sat down at a table. The turtle brought them a big pot of carrot soup. It smelled delicious. After they ate their soup, Little Bird felt much better. She was so happy to have a friend, and the rabbit was so happy to have a friend, too. You want to know what? Said the turtle. I am the happiest turtle in the whole wide world because I have friends. Little Bird and the rabbit looked at each other, and then they both laughed. It's okay to ask for help, they said. Friends make us strong. After a while, Little Bird knew it was time to go home. She hugged her new friends goodbye. Then she took off into the sky. As she flew, she looked for her cozy tree. And soon, she saw it. She landed on one of its branches and chirped happily. Her family flew over to her. They were so happy to see her. Little Bird snuggled with her family. She was so happy to be home. She learned that day that it's okay to ask for help and friends make us strong. The end. Did you like this story? If you liked this story, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you'd like to watch another story now, just click on one of these two. See you next time!